All right, welcome to yet another exciting episode of Vroom. Are you guys excited just as I am? Let me know. Welcome on board. This is your complete road user experience. Tell me, I want to know, how was your road trip? Tell me about it. How was your car this weekend? Hopefully it didn't drop you anywhere, leave you in the dark. It took you all through. And those of you that watched the episode last week, I'm sure you put the tips that she learned into practice. Hopefully, well, you should, because one of these days we're going to open the phone lines and have a little quiz to ask you, give you some prizes for those that will win. Ask about all the things we've learned in these exciting episodes. So yes, welcome on board. Tell a friend to tell a friend that Vroom is live on Facebook. You find us on Facebook as Sit Radio 99.5. We are live nationwide. Tell a friend to tell a friend and stay glued, because this episode, oh boy, it will be exciting. So welcome. My name is Shecanic and this is Vroom. Trending last week. This is the new Suzuki Swift, the 2026 Suzuki Swift. Oh boy, there are lots of cars that we are manufacturing here in Ghana, and I would say thank you to our policymakers, to our torchbearers and the vision bearers for making this happen. Indeed, this is great. Such exciting times ahead. But there's caveats. These cars that are assembled, I won't label them locally, because when you put the tag locally, I think it gives it an inferior feel or look. So these newly assembled vehicles that we have, can the everyday Joe, everyday Ghanaian afford it? We seem to have a lot, yet people are still importing cars that are out of warranty. So someone would import a vehicle that's like 2012 model, 2015 model at best, and still would bring it in. There are no OEM parts because the manufacturers are just moving on to the next thing. You don't get the parts. You go to Abosoka and you even get parts for it anymore, and you have to deal with the substandard ones that we have. So these newly assembled vehicles that we have, do we really, are we buying this? What are they making it for? I want to hear from you. Who are they actually making this for? I want to hear from you. So send me a message on WhatsApp 020-000-0995. Let me know what you think. Can you afford it? Are they making it for us or not? I want to know. There's so many of these brands out there. Now, the Suzuki Swift, as I mentioned, it's by CFAO Mobility. It was sad if they can put this up on the screen for you to see. It is great. I absolutely love it. For me, I think I was drawn to it by just how swift it is. And then catch this. I do know that is the most fuel efficient vehicle right now on the market. Because check this out. It has a 3 inline cylinders on the crankshafts. So that's what it means, is you get to save fuel. So if you fill your gas for, let's say, 450 cedis, you fill your gas, you can use it for as long as, 2 weeks. It's very fuel efficient. So these guys are onto something good. Thank you so much for putting the needs of Ghanaians first and giving us a car that just suits us. It suits good for our pockets. It's good for our roads. Oh, and it has the alloy wheels too. I'm looking at the pictures right now, and this is great. So if you can go on Facebook right now, watch the screen, you'd see it. Yes, that is it. It has that sports look. The alloy wheels actually is a two-tone alloy. And then the ground clearance, if you can see, is good for our humps and our bumps. Remember we said we don't call it ramps, but humps and bumps. So it's good for our roads. It has enough ground clearance. It's a very good, ideal city car. I'll call it a city car. It can take you from A to B with no headache. Plus, you save on your fuel. This is great. So thank you so much, CFO. Later in the show, we should have someone, a rep from CFO, to come and tell us a lot more about it. But yes, so let me go straight to my issue for today. You know, last week, the government, the president and his able team put together a wonderful forum, the business forum. And they did mention that this is what the president mentioned. He says he wants to see a Ghana where young men and women wouldn't have to travel, leave Ghana to find greener pastures, but everything will be here. I do agree with him, and I think Ghana is on the right path. However, with all these beautiful policies that we have in line for the young ones, can we actually afford it? Are we making it accessible? There are lots of opportunities, they say, but are they accessible? Please send me your opinion. Let me know what you think. 020 00 00 995 020 00 00 995. Let me know what you think. Can you afford it? With the ride-hailing cabs, the market women, the driving schools, the banks, the insurance companies, can you afford these newly assembled vehicles? Because they are supposed to be made for us. Interestingly, as I was doing my research for today, I came across a beautiful, beautiful quote from the Ghana Automotive Center, which states that they're supposed to pay their objectives. They're supposed to make sure that we have, they could please put this objective on there for me, is to establish an asset-based vehicle financing scheme for locally assembled vehicles to ensure affordability for vehicle buyers. Let me read this again. This is the strategic objectives of the Ghana Automotive Center. It says to establish an auto-based vehicle auto-based vehicle financing scheme for locally assembled vehicles to ensure affordability for vehicle buyers. So yes, we have these beautiful, very well put together policies, but is that what is happening on the ground? Can the average Ghanaian afford it or not? Whew. During the forum, I was paying attention to the people that attended, and I don't know if we got anyone in the auto industry attending this. Yes, I saw GEPA, Ghana Export Promotions Authority, and I'm not sure if there was anybody with the automotive industry. I didn't see anyone. So what is happening? So can we afford it? Are the finance companies providing us with the money to afford it or not? Case in point, so you go to the bank, you want to get a vehicle, but you do not have the money to afford it. You don't have collateral, so it's almost as if you cannot get this facility. Meanwhile, the policy says to create the finance scheme for us to afford these vehicles. Is that what is happening? Interesting, huh? Anyway, we should have more of this. Now, I'm going to read something from the minority leader, Honorable Afenyo Makin, in one of his speeches at the just ended business forum. He says, "No economy can thrive where access to finance remains elusive." I'll read that again. No economy can thrive where access to finance remains elusive. So it comes back to a question. The cars that are made here in Ghana, assembled here in Ghana, are they made for Ghanaians at all? Who are the ones buying it? Now, the policies, is it even easy for the companies that are putting this together to even afford to pay the taxes? Can they even afford to make it accessible for us? And who are those buying it? How is it that We put on some beautiful policies, but on the ground, that's not what is happening. Something for you to think about, huh? Now, whilst we wait for our guests to come in, let's quickly zoom into the next segment, which is Now You Know. Now You Know, where I teach you tidbits about cars and get you to start speaking the car language. So now you know, that's next. You know, a lot of you just say inside lights. I know. Someone just said it today. Turn on my inside lights. Turn on my inside lights. But it is not called inside lights. Please, you cannot be listening to Vroom in 2025 and still call it inside lights. So I'm going to teach you the right way, the car way to say it. So, you know, when you open your car doors, the lights that would come on, they are called courtesy lights. So you open your door and then the lights, maybe on the door seal or the overhead, these lights come on. It is called the courtesy light. Courtesy, because it's supposed to help you illuminate, find your way in the car. So these are courtesy lights. Now the second one, yes, that's what you see on the screen. So you'd find a courtesy light on the overhead, yes, and then also where the coat hook is. You know, the back seats where your grab handle, where you normally will put your coat or your jacket or something, your garments. It's called the coat hook. But we'll talk about that later. So there's the courtesy light. Now let's move on to the ambient lights. Now, ambient lights is more of an emotional design. You know, when you're going up the Broom Mountain and you just want to put that lady in the mood. Hey, wait, maybe not the lady, but you just want to be in the mood. So that's called the ambient lights. Once upon a time, they used to just put these lights on your footwells, where your feet would rest. Those are called footwells. But now, they thought it wise to create a good mood. So sometimes it changes with the kind of music you play. You know, these Gen Zs, I know you know what I'm talking about. It changes the mood every now and then. These are called ambient lights. And I believe it adds to the design of the interior, the design of the cabin even. Now, the next one is your vanity mirror lights. So my ladies, you know, when you pull down your visor and you're about to do your makeup at night, the moment you slide the mirror open, you get it's illuminated. That light, that is called the vanity mirror lights. Vanity mirror lights. So don't say inside lights anymore. Now you know. And then the last one, which I believe was made for Ghana because of our open gutters and always getting water piled up in places where they shouldn't be, always having pool of water everywhere. So this is an image of a puddle of water. We see that a lot. Now that we're in the rainy season, it's almost everywhere on our highways, our feeder roads, our urban roads. You see this, but you don't want to step in with your white Jordans, do you? So we have the cars the manufacturers have thought it wise to illuminate this. I think they knew one day there's a country called Ghana where they'll need this. So these are called puddle lights. Mercedes and a few other companies started doing the projected ones, you know, project their logos. Talk about branding, huh? So these are puddle lights to help you see where you're about to step. Some vehicles you find it underneath the side step. Some vehicles you find it underneath the side mirrors. They are called puddle lights. So I'm going to run through it again. We have the courtesy lights, we have the ambient lights, we have the vanity mirror lights, and we have the puddle lights. So ladies and gentlemen, no more inside lights. Okay? Please take notes and let's go back to the discussion for today. Woo. Thank you for coming, Dennis. Thank you for coming. So just before you came in, we were talking about the newly assembled vehicle. Congratulations. That is a beautiful car. It was made for us. So before I let Dennis talk, let me quickly introduce him. So Dennis hold on a second. So Dennis is a sales manager. You know what, Dennis? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Exactly. So my name is Dennis Gawuga. I'm the communications manager for CFAO Mobility Ghana, distributors of various passenger vehicles, including Mercedes-Benz, Mitsubishi, and Suzuki that we're talking about today. Yes, and we recently launched the Suzuki Swift, and you've seen it. Very beautiful,
Yes,
very beautiful vehicle.
Oh, the choice of color. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So you go from the high end to the everyday vehicle, so everybody can have a piece of it. I like that. That's very large market share strategy.
Yes, indeed. So the Suzukis are basically positioned as your budget vehicle, but trust me, those vehicles now today have very beautiful design, have all the various trimmings of the standard luxury vehicles you'd find around. So yes, we're positioned for Ghana and made for Ghana.
So a lot of thoughts went into this clearly, but the idea is for us to move from point A to B whilst being comfortable.
Being comfortable, exactly.
And I'm sure there's space in there. I mean, with my height, what do you think? Would I be able to fit in?
They're quite roomy. Quite roomy vehicles. I've driven a Suzuki for the past 4-5 years now, and I guess I'm sold.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, they're quite roomy. So the Swift, as you can see on the screen, yes, is a 1.2 liter engine vehicle. Seats 5 people, including the driver, and has quite a very roomy cabin. And I hear you're giving very technical names for things. I learned a thing or two. I learned a thing or two right now.
I'm glad you did.
The trunk space is quite voluminous. Yes, for a small compact vehicle, it's quite voluminous.
That's great. This is good, and I like that you mentioned that it is budget friendly.
Yes.
Not a lot. You know, a lot of these manufacturers, they go on to put a lot of these electrical stuff and electronics and all of that, all to end up being something that the customer has to pay for. Whether you like it or not, you have to pay for it. But so you tell us, how functional is a Swift? I like the name Swift.
Swift, yes.
How functional
Move swiftly
is it? It moves swiftly
in the city.
I can see.
So we pay particular attention to how we curate the vehicles we bring in. CFAO Mobility has been around for 116 years plus in Ghana. We understand the terrain, we understand the market, we understand the needs of the people. You rightly said there are quite a number of vehicles that have so many things loaded onto them, and you realize you come down here and you're probably not using many of those functions. So what we try to do is put in functions that are very essential to our driving experience here, whilst keeping the vehicle within budget range. Yes, it doesn't really make so much sense to have all the trimmings that you really might not be using here, like GPS stuff that is made for European markets. Those are things, those little things, driver lane assist, and we don't necessarily have all the roads in play to help you with all those driver lane shift assists and all of that.
Absolutely.
So we try as much as possible to keep those trimmings necessary to the necessary ones for our customers and our clients, and whilst keeping the vehicle within budget range. Of course, we pay particular attention to safety and ensure that all the vehicles are tested by the global NCAP in South Africa, and when we come here, we are tested rigorously by the Ghana Standards Authority. So we undergo several tests to ensure that the vehicles...
That's comforting to know that it goes to all the right tests. But it's interesting how you mentioned all these specs, because you don't, just like your phone, you order the most expensive phone, yet you don't even use a lot of the functions. So I'm glad you mentioned that it doesn't come with all these fancy stuff. Yes, it might be useful, but what's the point in having these fancy stuff when you don't even have the parts to replace with when they go wrong? You don't have the parts.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what makes the Swift quite competitively priced compared to its peers within its range. So it's one of those things that make it, beautiful, functional, and competitively priced.
You mentioned safety. Is there a place where you actually test the vehicles to see maybe crash, or this is when it has already gone through its rigorous test and then it comes to Ghana for the policymakers to just stamp it? Is that what happens?
Precisely. So the global NCAP, a new car it skipped me, but
Right.
it's a body that basically tests vehicles in various regions. So they have them in various regions of the world, and the African market does their tests in South Africa. So they undergo all these various forms of tests, like front collision, back collision, all of those things, to give it a safety rating and score the vehicle. So once the vehicle is scored for safety and it comes back with, I think GSA validates that. They also do their cross checks, and then they validate that testing that goes on, and the vehicle is ready for.
That is comforting
market.
to know. So what Dennis was trying to tell all of us is going through all the crash points. So now a lot of the vehicle manufacturers have what they call the crash points, where with every point it makes sure it holds it and doesn't go any further. It doesn't crumple any further. Let me use that word, crumple any further. So it's going through all of that, and you can trust that. What about the airbags?
Yes.
Curtain airbags, the
side. So it has 6 airbags this time around.
Oh wow!
Instead of the 2 that used to be the case in the previous.
No, I am
model.
shocked for this car.
For this vehicle, so it's equipped with adequate airbags in front and on the sides of the vehicle. Yes.
And it's safe for children.
Very safe for.
You can
very
put your
safe for children.
infants, your baby in the car seats. It's safe.
Very safe for children as well.
So Ghanaians, this is a car for us. We should jump on this. It should be the ride hailing should get it. I need to come to this too. Why is our driving schools, why are they still importing old out of warranty cars to teach our young ones how to drive? It shocks me every time I see this. So please, driving schools, you have the finance, you have the support. Go for a Swift and teach these young ones new cars. Teach them. One time with my driving school, this is true story, we had to stop for him to put water in the radiator. Water. And this is supposed to be someone teaching me how to drive. You're already teaching me to put water. So Dennis, what kind of people come to your showroom to buy the Swift?
Oh, quite interesting. It's a cross section of Ghanaians, businesses. So you mentioned the ride-hailing companies that have found the Swift and the Suzuki generally a very fuel-efficient vehicle.
It is.
Very, very fuel-efficient vehicle. Very road-friendly, built for our roads. And so you'd find quite a number of ride-hailing companies opting for the Suzuki. So with these factors, you realize, yes, the ride-hailing people are coming in. Businesses, small businesses looking for a small vehicle to move from point A to point B in the city use these vehicles, the Suzuki vehicles. Yes, and our very, very lovely Indian community, they love the Suzuki so much. So we have quite a number of Indians coming in to buy, or Indians who own businesses in Ghana coming to buy the Suzuki Swift or the other Suzuki models within the range. And individuals as well. You realize quite a number of well-to-do, families who have the other vehicles would like to have a utility vehicle that would pick the children from school, do their shopping errands and stuff. They pick up these vehicles. And of course, that doesn't cancel out budget-friendly people like us with small pockets who want to get a brand new vehicle that's competitively priced. Yes, we have such coming into the showroom to purchase. And there are various kinds of arrangements that we have to help people acquire vehicles from CFO Mobility. Yes.
Can you talk more about the arrangement? Some form of financing? Can you talk more about it? Because I'm sure a lot of people would want to, after seeing the video, they want to consider. So please tell us about the support that you mean. Some form of finance for them?
Yes. So we have 2 in-house finance models that we run 2 finance schemes. So we have one with AutoCheck. They do the vehicle financing for us with specific conditions, and then we also have our bank partners who support us with purchasing. So you deposit about 20-25% the total cost of the vehicle, and then the rest of it is spread between 1 to 5 years repayment. So it's quite flexible, easy on your pocket, and yes, you don't let go of cash at once to purchase a vehicle. We're hoping that the financial systems will be structured well, and with time, we would have a more flexible leasing, long-term rental, all these various options that are available outside the country that we see are available for us to be able to use brand new vehicles here. There's a good reason why we would like to promote the use of brand new vehicles. Of course, the environmental impact, the financial impact on people's pockets, yes, and just basically the comfort of using a brand new vehicle is a very good one. Yeah.
You know, I want to know your opinion about this. I was just going through the Ghana Automobile Center page, where they have listed out their objectives, and one of them I read earlier on the lessons. I'm going to read it again. To establish an assets-based vehicle financing scheme for locally assembled vehicles to ensure affordability for vehicle buyers. Perhaps I don't, because I'm not in the industry, I will not understand this. Can you please explain to us and also help us understand if this is actually being rolled out?
Okay, so the automotive policy in itself has very good intentions. Obviously, like I said, we want all Ghanaians to be able to afford brand new vehicles, and so assembling them here also helps cut down the cost, amongst other benefits that we gain from it. Like every other policy that is rolled out, it will come with its teething problems or challenges, which eventually over time will be surmounted. Yes, the goal is to, in many parts, also help with the financing of vehicle purchases. So in rolling out the auto policy, the various stakeholders that are engaged, like the finance institutions, etc., who are giving, the mandate to give, loans, basically make financing easier for Ghanaians to access and purchase vehicles. So it's also one of the things that the scheme is looking at doing, or the policy is looking at achieving. Of course, it comes within the terrain that we live in now, the financial times that we live in now. There's only so much that you can do, and only so much that you can achieve. But I think we're taking baby steps towards that position. Back in the day, vehicle loans were giving straight on as asset finance loans, but now there are some flexibilities, for example in our case, that allow people to have flexible terms to repay for the vehicle. Interest rates are sort of capped somewhere, so it's not as painful as you would have it, Yes. So with our finance scheme, when we started, the interest rate was fixed once you signed the contract. So no matter what happens, we're able to show up, So it's some of these mechanisms that we are looking at, employing to make sure that Ghanaians can purchase vehicles. Of course, we've taken steps, in a certain direction, and with time, we're hoping that we'll get to a place where we're doing maybe 5%, hopefully, on vehicle purchases.
You would. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter. Once you mentioned that we have the finances available and the facilities available, it's only a matter of time. But let's go back to the Swift. Let's go back. So I noticed it has alloy wheels, two-tone alloy wheels. What this means is if I fall in a pothole, my rims are strong enough to still carry me through. Now the tires, are they? I don't think they'll be run flats because that would be expensive. But tell us about the tires. Tell us about the wheels. Let's about the suspension. If you could tell us about that, just how strong the suspension. It looks like the Sport. Is it the Sport?
Okay, so this is the Swift. The Sport version is not available currently here in Ghana. But what we have, it looks as sporty as
it does.
It does look as sporty. All the lines on it, exterior-wise, the lines have been made to look quite robust, very fluid, and very aerodynamic. Yes. With our vehicles here, particular care is taken to make sure that the suspensions are reinforced, to make sure that when they come in here, they can ply on our roads. And obviously, we can see a lot of Suzukis on our roads these days. Clearly,
I see
yes.
a lot of them.
And the clearance with the suspension has been increased a little bit, a few more notches up. Clearly, our roads, just to cater for our roads. The tires, yes, like you said, the tires are not run flat, but the wheels, the ones that we assemble here, to be honest, don't come with full alloys.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
they don't come with full alloys. However, we also have a version that we assemble and
Yes.
put together called the Swift Plus. So it has a few more things that we can add to it to make it,
So
interesting
I like how you
for
put
you.
it. So there are options. So
Yes.
you walk in and then you choose option A or option B. I like that it's not fixed. It's not a straight jacket thing where you are forced to buy it just because it has it. But you have the options, which is great. I think, again, as I mentioned, a lot of thoughts went into this. So congratulations, well done to you and the entire team.
Thank
and I
you.
noticed just looking at the front grille, it's wide enough. That means it takes in
a lot of air.
Yes.
The honeycomb design,
the honeycomb design
on the
This is
grill
beautiful,
makes it look
actually.
very, very sporty.
This is beautiful.
Exactly.
This is beautiful.
And it has this nice run LED lights that go in the front.
This is beautiful. Now tell me, I want to know, when people come into your showroom, what is the one thing they always ask for? Like I'll go first. Like when I enter into a salon and I'll say, hey, do you have Kim K? Do you have Kim K?
I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, I know. But when it comes to your showroom, what's the one thing they always ask for? Is it the air conditioning or the radio? What's the one thing people always ask for in their vehicle?
Okay, so there's one interesting fact or one interesting thing about the Swift that has been improved on. With the previous model, we had a lot of customers, whinging a little bit about, because the previous model was an AMT transmission. Yes, ostensibly done so to try and cut down on fuel consumption.
Yes.
And then also make it fall within a certain budget range. You understand? So that was done. Customers, complained about it because there was a slight lag whenever you change gears, because gear selector, we used an actuator that selects the gears. Although it's a manual engine, the actuator makes it feel like an automatic vehicle.
Right.
So there was a slight lag in picking up from the gear transmission on the previous model. But this so this has now been changed. It's a full CVT engine, and that gives you an even more smoother ride now. Now you can experience the thrill of driving a full automatic vehicle zipping around the city.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, so that's a nice compact car that has it all packed in there. So that's one of the things that the major things that our customers used to ask about, and that now has been included. The transmission was a big issue.
These are the male customers. What about the ladies? Because I know my ladies will not ask for transmission. That will be the first thing.
The experience of driving. Sometimes you step on. Some ladies like speed. They like speed. They like the response. So when they step on the accelerator, they want to get the response. So we get some ladies talking about that. But however, the infotainment system, now we have a big screen right in the middle of the drive console. Imagine you're buying a budget car, small car, and then you get a whole touch screen. Basically, you know what I mean. So it's all in there. Apple Play, Android.
Nice.
Yes,
fancy.
all functional. You can literally say, "Hey, call mommy," or "Hey, call ya." And
that is not a budget car at all.
Yes, we're putting all the bells and whistles on the vehicle now. So yes, it's
absolutely great.
Absolutely wonderful.
Listeners,
so it's one of the things.
Get yourself a Swift. Get yourself a Swift. You get everything in one without having to pay an arm and a leg. So you get everything, and just how smooth the lines run through. It's like a lady with curves. It's just so beautiful.
Let me blow your listeners' minds. So this is a 1.2 liter engine, right?
Right.
And every year, car developers or car designers or car manufacturers try to make their cars as efficient as possible. So the previous model was a 4-cylinder vehicle. Now it's 3-cylinder, However, still giving the same power, if not more, with the 3 cylinders, 1.2 liter engine, and you're likely doing, let's say, to every 100 kilometers, you're probably just doing 4 liters.
Oh.
Yes.
So make that in relatable terms. So I move from Laboni to where?
So basically,
relatable.
on 4 liters, you can go to Temaimbakra is too short.
Really?
Yes, it's too short. 100 kilometers is probably halfway or a quarter way to Kumasi, or probably halfway to Cape Coast. Yes.
Talk of fuel saving.
Yeah, so that's it's a very fuel efficient vehicle, basically.
This is great.
The model I drive is a Grand Vitara that does probably 11 kilometers to a liter. So you're probably doing 44 kilometers to a gallon. So the Swift does even much better in terms of fuel consumption. Yes.
Wow, listeners, do not sleep on this one. This is the car you should get.
Indeed.
This is the car you should get. The colors. So what are the other paint options? I see that, and I see this also. What are the other paint options that we have?
So it's available in a number of colors, single tone and two-tone colors. Two-tone colors, yes. As you can see, you have this electric blue going on. We have the typical red. The previous model was flagship red. This is a flagship electric blue. We have it in gray. We have it in white. We have it in another shade of slightly darker gray.
Right.
And then black as well.
Right.
Yes. So these are the main colors that we have. And also they've introduced this rustic orange color, which I find quite interesting and electrifying. I mean, it's very expressive for the vehicle type.
I'm happy you mentioned all these variants. So I always get this from clients. So when they get a car, oh, Shecanic, I've got a car, but I don't like the color. So can you spray it? And this car is just brand new, and you want to put paint on it. So yes, listeners, if you are listening, if you want a blue car, you have blue. If you want orange, you want white, you want two-tone, you have all the rainbow colors, really. You have all the colors that you can choose from. So do not buy this vehicle and go and give it to Ejapia for him to spray. Don't do that.
I mean, we have a facility at we have a body shop at our workshop that is able to do these. The colors, however, are subject to availability or subject to what is shipped in at a particular time. However, if customers want specific colors, then we can actually look at and
paint it well.
Do it here, or ship it in from outside, which would probably mean a slightly longer wait time for them. Yes.
And I'm sure with you spray it better than Master Pia would do it. So yes, if you need to paint it, please take it back to the owners, the dealers, those who brought it. It's like you wanting to have an arm and you take it to somebody else to make a prosthetic arm for you. It won't be perfect like how God made it, no matter what. So take it back to the dealers, take it back to the owners for them to fix it. I absolutely like the Swift. I like that the engine is compact, so it's small. It looks not too heavy. It can go through the wind, save you a lot of energy, a lot of fuel. It's just beautiful. For me, it's a front grille. It is a front grille.
The front grille,
has
yes.
such beautiful
Very bold.
eyes. Such beautiful eyes. The headlights are beautiful. I like how the lines run through it. It's just beautiful. So congratulations again. Very beautiful vehicle, made just for our terrain, made for the Ghanaian average Joe and the Ghanaian budget.
Exactly.
Congratulations again. I see the two-tone as you mentioned.
Exactly.
I see it. I see it with this.
And this is assembled in Ghana. Yes, by Ghanaians, and remains one of the only vehicles that is arranged or assembled, from 1,000+ individual components.
You don't say?
Yes. So the breakdown is very, very granular, thereby equipping the people who we train to work on the vehicles with more knowledge about the vehicle and the vehicle assembly process as well. Eventually, we're hoping that with time, we'll get to the point where we are manufacturing some of these elements that come together to form the vehicle here. We want to get to that point. So gradually, we're working towards it, and we entreat Ghanaians to patronize our assembled in Ghana vehicles. This way, it will help grow the sector. We'll be able to upscale our artisans and basically get them employed.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's
do you
the
have
whole.
female technicians in there?
Yes, we do. We have female technicians. They're on the assembly line, and also at our workshop, in the body shop, on the main workshop floor, we have females working.
Fantastic,
there. Yes.
fantastic. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. So what I could hear from what Dennis said is we are employing a lot of people.
Yes.
And actually training them to do better.
To do better.
Well,
yes.
well done. What are the other social responsibility actions that you've taken?
Oh my
CFO?
Goodness, it spans a wide gamut. But first on the list is providing good employment for Ghanaians, which is one of the UN SDG goals. Whilst we train people to contribute economically to the country and to their own families. We are also quite mindful about the environments that we work in. So our showroom remains, I think, one of the only showrooms that operates 100% solar, works 100% on solar. From the workshop, the showroom, from end to end, basically operates 100% on solar. So at full capacity, we are on solar, and that basically minimizes the impact on the environment and minimizes the carbon footprints that we leave behind. On education, we have done a number of interventions with schools. We recently, I think last year or so, donated a number of printers to a cluster of schools in Ghana. There was a Kaneshi cluster of schools that I think we renovated their sick bay. Yes, we renovated their sick bay and provided them with some medication. And then also their IT lab. Yes, we finished their IT lab. Amongst other CSR initiatives that we've taken, we've screened market women at Malata Market for hypertension on World Hypertension Day. So we screened them, gave them education, gave them medication as well, and followed up to make sure that the women stay healthy and continue to contribute to the country and their families as well. These are among several other interventions. Once they come to mind, I'll pop them out.
This is great. So
yes.
You're very forward thinking. So listeners, I hope you heard what he said. What he means is, if you buy a vehicle, it goes a long way to helping
exactly.
the community members. It goes along. So buy the Swift. Help that market woman, help that young girl or boy to get a job. Thank you so much. I'm impressed with CFO. It's not all about selling your cars.
No, it's not always about that.
This is good. Let's go back to the car. Now, Ghana is very hot. It's humid. What kind of materials do you use for your seats?
Okay, so the cars are available in different options depending on how you want them. For the Swift, the fabric seats. Okay. Yes, they're fabric seats. But we also have models that have leather seats.
Right.
But not the leather seats that scorch you. They're quite comfortable, soft, pliable, and yes, quite comfortable. But our vehicles come, available in these two materials. So the seats for the Swift particularly are fabric seats. Yes.
Yeah, so these are just to make it comfortable and
yes,
and then air conditioned.
Air conditioned, yes.
Yes, and
fully.
What about the convenient features like the power windows, these convenient features? You have all of that in there.
Yes. So yes, it has the power windows. Basically, yes, it has power windows. There's an interesting feature that's the new Swift
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so it's the overdrive off switch, right? Okay. The new GL comes with an overdrive, which is ideal for driving on hilly areas. The previous Swift, because of the AMT, you have to pull your handbrake all the time, and once it's on neutral or even if you're in drive, it has a little rollback. Yeah, but this one has that ability to stay still. And so when you're driving on winding roads, on a steep hill, at least you drive more smoothly with less internal gear changes. And yes, it wasn't on the previous model, but this time around, you have that confidence now you can take on hills. So those who went to Kwewu with the new Swift, or next year when they're going to Kwewu with the new Swift, yes, you can climb the mountain with.
That's good. That's comforting to know.
Very,
that
very
is comforting.
Yes.
I mean, I can see from the video that it's doing some interesting terrain right now, which is good. So these are the comfort features, as Dennis just mentioned. Get yourself a Swift because it has everything. I'm trying to ask him all the nitty-gritties. Now, what my ladies want me to ask, the charging ports, because every now and then we want to be able to know what's going on outside in the car. So the charging ports, I'm able to charge my phones. Tell us about that.
Yes, you have a USB charging unit at the bottom of your cluster, your instrument cluster. So yes, you have the USB charging unit. Your infotainment as well. I mentioned earlier on, you have very interesting infotainment system, touchscreen, basically 7-inch display touchscreen. I mentioned about the automated air conditioned system. So the outgoing model had an analog air conditioned system, but this one has an automated air conditioning system, basically to give you the best experience. And the instrument cluster is revised now, so everything is within reach.
Dennis, I like that she said instrument cluster.
I'm using the technical words, the
yes,
dashboard.
I'm so happy he didn't say, because over here we don't say dashboard.
We don't say dashboard.
Instrument cluster. So go ahead.
Yes. So everything is within reach. The design of the instrument cluster has a very sporty, progressive look. So even though it's a budget, well, I don't even like to even call it a budget vehicle, but even though it's an affordable vehicle, it looks, it has that look of luxury, coming with it. So you're driving a not so expensive car, but you feel good about the design, the interior, the instrument cluster, and then all the other very, interesting electronics that come with the vehicle. So yes, it's all in all a really beautifully designed vehicle for Ghana, and now assembled by Ghanaians for Ghana.
This is amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. So
Yes.
ladies, imagine driving around with an iPad next to you. It's large enough. It's a touch screen, as you mentioned. You can charge your phones. You can do whatever it is. You can mirror whatever is on your phone onto your screen because of what he mentioned, the CarPlay that he mentioned. So this is a vehicle you should get. This is a vehicle for the future. Don't wait and say, oh, how I wish. Get it now. We'll come to the price, but I'm sure we'll talk about that later, because of course people want to know, okay, so Shecanic, all of this, how much does it cost? We'll come to the price later. So listeners, last week I mentioned, we're going to go straight to another segment. Last week I mentioned not having to call. I don't want to mention this again, but I'm going to mention the last time. Don't call a fan belts. It is called a drive belt or a serpentine belt, and I'll explain to you why. You know how in Ghana we call every cola drink a certain brand, or we call every toothpaste a certain brand. Unfortunately, that is what we are doing with a lot of our car parts. So once upon a time, then the manufacturer had a belt for every accessory, every engine accessory. So the engine accessories or the engine peripherals are this: the water pump, the alternator, the steering pump. These are the alternatives, the peripherals, the accessories that rely on the crankshafts. So the manufacturer had to put a belt, individual belt. So there was one in particular that was to move assist the fan, and that was called the fan belt. So all these, you can have the alternator belts, you can have the power steering belts, but now we do not have all these rolling individual belts because they realized that it's just clumsy. So they decided to put just one long belt that can go around all these peripherals. So it moves like a snake, hence the name serpentine belts. So please, once you listen to Vroom, do not go to the market and say, "Mame fan belts." No. It's either you call it a drive belt because it drives all the accessories, or you call it a serpentine belt. Next week, I'll show you how the serpentine belt looks like. It's just like what you call that. I said I'm not going to mention it again. It's like what you call that. So moving forward, we're going to call it serpentine belts. The same way we don't say inside lights anymore. The same way we don't say dashboard, the lights on my dashboard anymore. We call it the instrument cluster. Instrument cluster. Next week, I'm going to tell you which part of the car is called the dashboard, because there is a dashboard, but not where you're referring to as where you see your light. So back to you, Dennis. Tell us a bit more about. Oh wait, please go on to, before I go to Dennis, please go on to your Facebook again. Take a look at it. We have a beautiful diagram of how the serpentine belt looks like. So as I mentioned, it drives all the accessories of the engine. Accessories. You know, when you dress up nicely, you have some accessories like your handbag, your earring, your weave. These are the accessories I'm talking about. So you have the power steering, you have the crankshafts, you have the air compressor pulley. All of that run on a serpentine belt because it moves like a snake. Maybe they shouldn't have called it serpentine. Maybe they could have called it something else, but they had to find something that moves like a snake, hence the name serpentine. So this is a beautiful picture of it on your engine. So this is how it looks like. You see all the alternator, I see the pumps, I see the water pump, I see the pulley. That is called no more fan belt. Don't call it fan belt anymore. Drive belts or the serpentine belts. Dennis, did you know this?
I'm sure yes, the serpentine belt. I've noticed now there are some engines that have this one belt that goes through. Right. I don't know about the science about it. You know, some would say, if you know it rips, then that's it.
Right.
You know, so some prefer that, you know, there's a belt that runs something and there's a belt that runs the other thing.
Separate ones.
But for efficiency, I'm pretty sure it's for efficiency.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I'm sure the Swift has just a serpentine belt.
I haven't checked. So yes, but I mean but I'm sure for efficiency they would have a very good system that runs the vehicle. Yes, they would have. So that would be what your timing.
It all runs on a gear. All of them runs on a gear.
On gears.
So
okay.
it's should I call it a teeth? What we call the teeth. It needs to run. So mostly when you don't replace it on time, it cracks, it gets hard, brittle, and then it breaks.
Okay.
Or the teeth or the gears. The right thing to say is the gears. The gears become smooth.
Right.
Instead of it being, because it needs to be rough to be able to
grip.
Have that friction.
Exactly.
So that's what it looks like. So yes, it's one of the most important parts of the engine. We underestimate its use until you need it. So yes, I'm sure the Swift has it too because it's a new car, from maybe 1995 and newer. They changed the individual belts to one serpentine belt or one drive belt. So yes, the Swift should be in that category.
I recollect some time back in 2017, the car I was driving then was a Hyundai Elantra. On the N1, I was driving and I just heard a snap.
Right.
And you tapped the accelerator and wouldn't move. And I realized, the timing had gone off. Yeah, I had to park, and then the mechanic came to look at it and said all my tappers had gone.
But it didn't show you signs before it went off.
No, it must have. I probably wasn't paying attention. But back then I wasn't working with an auto company, so I didn't know so much. But the good thing was he said I didn't keep accelerating. Right. To engage the engine and keep the tappers going. Right. So my pistons were not that bent, but he did a little overhauling, and
it affects your connecting roads
exactly,
and all of that. That's good. But overhauling comes at a fee, comes at a price.
It's quite heavy.
Yes.
Quite heavy. Yeah.
Oh.
But it's good to know about vehicles, and this program is a very good one.
Thank you.
Educating all of us. I learned a new thing today about the lights.
Thank you.
Inside lights. No
more inside lights.
No more inside lights.
I know somebody says, "Oh, Kwame, so inside lights, mommy." I hear this every time. And then what's interesting? I noticed even our church now have ambient lights. I don't think you know, because you are in your Swift.
Oh, please.
You're in your Swift, so you wouldn't know this.
I pass by them
the
sometimes.
VIPs, the buses all have the
LED
ambient
lights inside.
Yes, those are ambient. So
atmosphere.
Yeah, so when you sit in the car now, start practicing. The only way you'd remember the things that you learn here is when you practice. So don't be shy to say ambient lights when you sit in a church. But if you tell me, so ambient lights, you're on your own. That's you're on your own. But I'm glad you learned a thing or two. So once we wrap up, Dennis, tell us what are your final. Tell us the price. Tell us more about the cars, something you think you haven't mentioned already. Would like to know.
Okay, with the price, I would leave that for our sales guys, so you can call the showroom and then get the price. This is because I'm not too privy to the showroom price currently now, because this has just been launched. Yes, but it's still within a good budget range, I can assure our listeners. I'll tell listeners, the Suzuki range, especially the Suzuki Swift, has been crafted for Ghanaians, assembled by Ghanaians, backed by superior Japanese technology. So the Suzuki is not just any unknown car, but this is a very solid vehicle with solid Japanese technology, with a company that's very ethical company that takes safety and takes all manufacturing standards, carries all manufacturing standards to the highest point. So when you drive a Suzuki, you're driving a good machine, and you're driving something that gives you value over time. I drive a Suzuki. I'm really happy with it. So I would call on anyone looking to buy a new vehicle to try a Suzuki, and they will not regret it.
Try a Suzuki, indeed, you will not regret it. And then they do also have all the after-sales support that you need, the spare parts. They have the shops. I've seen one of your shops, your workshops, on the Spinters Road, close to Action Chapel.
Yes.
And that is huge.
Yes, we had to put that up really quickly, because then the demand for our vehicles exploded, and that came with after sales pressure, and so our centers were quite pressured, and we listened to the customers and made sure that we provided them the facilities that would be able to absorb the cars that we sell out. So when you come, you don't have to wait long and have appointments, running over weeks. But we have centers that are, prepared to take care of your vehicle. So we have the airport main branch. We have the Spintex service center. So it's actually a service center for Suzuki's and Mitsubishi's. And then, of course, a branch in Tema, off the hospital road, one in Kumasi, and then Takrade. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, we have a branch in Edum on Harper Road, and Takrade on the Cape Coast Road. Yes, and we have a partnership with the Total stations, Total Energy stations. That so at the service bay, we're able to do minor, servicing and some minor repair work in Bolgatanga, Wa, and Tamale, and then I think in Sunyani as well. Yes. We have
this
those
is fantastic
centers. Yes.
So we have everybody, no matter where you are in Ghana, once you get yourself a Swift or any of the other wonderful models, you will get a place to fix. You will get the parts readily available. You don't have to wait or have to go to Abosokai again to get it right from them. So please get yourself a Swift today. with regards to the pricing, we will get the sales team to come back and tell us about the pricing. I understand that it is new and it's still going through a lot of, sometimes what you write on paper is not reality. So we need to make sure that our buyers, it actually suits them. So there's been some changes, I can understand, but we'll get them to come and talk more about.
I can give
the
you
pricing.
a range.
Okay, give us a range, please.
So
that.
for a brand new vehicle, a compact vehicle within this range, the small compact vehicle. So the Suzuki Swift is priced at 288,750 cedis, right? Yes. So it's between that range, 288, 290.
This is affordable.
Yes, it is affordable when you look at it compared with
yes.
its within its class. It's the most affordable, actually.
And the warranty.
Yes,
we have a
3-year manufacturer's warranty. Yes, we have a 3 years manufacturer's warranty, and when you come to us, we're able to throw in some very interesting after sales offers for you. So 1 year free servicing, negotiated, 1 year free servicing, or 20,000 kilometers, free servicing once you come in to us. Once we talk and we have a good deal, you can get that.
All for 288.
Exactly.
So you have the iPad, you have the alloy wheels, you have your two-tone, you have your ground clearance, you have the favorable suspension, all for 200. So listen, check this out. Instead of going to buy a car from North America or Europe that is out of warranty, a 2012 model, 2015 model that you will spend 100,000 cedis on, get yourself a Swift, less than 300,000. Once he mentioned that there are finance facilities available, less than 300,000, you get a car that will last you more than 5 years or even 10 years. Plus, it comes with warranty, 3 years he mentioned, and some other wonderful things that you can walk away with. So get that. No more getting these cars that are out of warranty from wherever. Let's start buying our own assembled vehicles. I mean, if there's some sense of patriotism, maybe there has to be a call, a national call for this, where you feel you're part of your Ghanaian, so you need to own a car that says this is Ghanaian. And do not think that it is inferior, because as he mentioned, it's going through all the required things, the NACP he mentioned, the safety checks, and well-trained technicians to make sure every part. Check this out. So someone imported a vehicle, and even before he started moving around, they've already changed it from left hand to right hand. There's so many lights showing on the instrument cluster. Why do we do this to ourselves when you cannot just get a brand new Swift? It's about time we change. So next week, I'm sure we'll get the sales team to tell us more about it. And how about this? We're bringing somebody from the finance sector to tell us why we are not getting it. But check this out. With CFAO, he mentioned that they already have these finance facilities for us. So please grab this attention.
I know. If you have a vehicle that you wish to trade in, yes, you can trade it in and get a brand new one. So, like I mentioned, we're trying to make brand new vehicle ownership demystified and easier for our customers. As should be. So if you have a vehicle that you wish to trade in, you can bring it in, top up on the difference, and then pick a brand new vehicle and drive home, so that you don't have a second-hand vehicle that you're not too sure of, and the long-term ownership of the vehicle would cost you even much more. So if you have a brand new vehicle, you have less headaches.
I'm sure with all the wonderful things that you mentioned here, Dennis, you must have been awarded a lot of, gotten a lot of awards, because what you do is you are customer centered.
Exactly.
You are customer free. You think about us and you give us all the opportunities for us to just take the steps. So thank you very much. I appreciate you coming, and then we have indeed enjoyed watching and seeing all the wonderful things that the Swift has. Again, as I mentioned, it looks like just a beautiful woman with all the right curves that will take you from point A to B. It is a city car. However, you can take it to Kwewu, or you can drive up to the North Tamale, wherever you want to go. So this car can take you there. So thank you very much. So listeners, this is all the mileage that we have. This is where we have our first pit stop. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week. My name is Shecanic, and this is Vroom.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.